So that's one thing that we're going to do today. So we're going to do the exam 2 sample. This is the same type of problems that you're going to get in the exam on Monday. So go to the website and download the exam 2 sample. So download the exam 2 sample files. That has the 3 forms, or rather 2 forms in a table that we're going to use. So make sure once again download the exam 2 sample files. So once again, I am giving you already the forms with the CSS. You're not creating the forms, you're just converting the CSS. So download the exam 2 sample files. I already have it in a folder, in my case, and that would be, I have it here. So I'm going to rename the exam 2 files. I'm going to rename it as the exam 2 files answers. And then I'm going to open that folder with Visual Studio Code. So let me open it with Visual Studio Code. Okay, so once again, this is the sample files that we're going to use. So we're only gonna do today the sample exam. And we need those 3 files. And we're gonna be converting the CSS from inline to external. So I already downloaded the files. So here is the PDF. Remind you that last time we did do number 1 and 2, so, but I'm doing it over. But we already did this. So I am going to, so the rectangle problem is number 1. So I'm gonna rename the rectangle problem as exam 2 sample 1 number 1. So that's the rectangle problem, and then we're going to be converting the CSS. The whole objective once again of the question is to convert the CSS from inline to external. So that's the whole point of each of the questions. So the rectangle problem, I'm going to start converting it. So once again, the easiest way to convert it to external is to first convert it to embedded. Okay, so the first thing that we have is the div. We have multiple divs. Most of them have separate CSS. So I'm gonna make it into a class, div1. So I'm gonna make this CSS of this particular one into div1 class. Okay, so and then I need to use the class by putting a class equals to div1. And you can select it and see if there is any other code that reuses that CSS. If that would be the case, it would be highlighted. But since it's not, then we just move on to the next conversion. Okay, so the next div, this is probably the title. Okay, there is no other So this is going to become a div number 2. So this is going to become class div number 2. And once again, if you select it, let's see if there's any other line that follows the same CSS. No, there is no other line that follows the CSS, so we don't have to reuse that class. Okay, the next one is here. This one, it's okay. Actually, that's a unique CSS as well. So div 3. Is going to have the following code. So this is div number 3. And that's basically the class div 3. Once again, I'll remind you that we actually did this a few weeks ago, but I'm doing it again. And I'm making sure I finish. Last time we tried to do this one. We only did number 1 and 2. We never got to finish. So today we'll make sure that we finish it. Since it was a while ago, I decided to just do it again. Okay, the next one is the CSS here. So this one repeats. It repeats 4 times actually. So div 4 can be reused 4 times. And once again, this is what the test is about on Monday, converting inline to external. So this is going to be div number 4. Oops, I meant class equals to div number 4. Okay, so once again, select it and see what other lines have the same CSS. So this one has the same CSS. So we can reuse the So this one, it's a class div number 4, and of course this one has the same CSS. So we're gonna put class equals to div number 4. So we're reusing the class. And once again, this is gonna repeat 4 times. So if you select it, you'll notice that this line and that line have the same CSS. So we can just use that class to replace this CSS. And the last one. We have another div here. Let's see if it repeats. Okay, it doesn't repeat, so this one is going to be div number 5. Okay, we have now the text boxes. Let's see if they all have the same CSS. And the answer is yes. All the text boxes have the same CSS. So we can use an element selector. So that CSS is going to apply to all the text boxes. Text box number 1, text box number 3, and the text box number 4. So they all use the same CSS as this one here. So all the text boxes use the same CSS. Now the buttons, let's see. Yeah, basically all the buttons use the same CSS. So all the buttons use the same CSS. Okay, so this is basically the final outcome. Oh, I forgot, there is one more. This text align. So we're gonna call that div number 6. Okay, so I almost forgot one. Class div number 6. Okay, so now all of them are done. So all the CSS has been converted to embedded. All the CSS has been converted to embedded. Okay, because we are going to be utilizing the CSS of Form 1 and Form 2 at the same time, because they're going to be used at the same time, we have to have a mechanism to make sure that they don't mix. One CSS doesn't mix with the other. So what we're going to basically introduce is we're going to introduce a new class. Well, I guess I'll make it an ID. ID equals to, let's say, problem 1. And then I'm going to have here, I'm going to declare the ID, div1, no, ID problem1, and then you put a space. So there is a space here. So once you have this ID, you're going to put that ID at the very beginning of every single CSS line. Oops, I thought I copied it. Let's see. So once again, that's going to precede every single CSS line. And basically what you're saying is that CSS is only going to work if the parent is problem 1, has an ID of problem 1. In effect, you're preventing all the CSS from being used anyplace else unless the parent is problem 1. So this technique will enable you to mix multiple CSS forms without having to change the CSS, because the CSS of one form is not going to interfere with another if you use this type of technique. The only other solution is to make sure that all the other classes have don't repeat. So that's it, will be another solution. So once again, the pound means ID. The pound means ID. So this is the ID. If you use a dot, it's a class. If you use a pound, it's an ID. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller so you can see the entire page. So that's the entire page. Or rather, the entire form with the entire CSS. We haven't finished yet. We need to put the CSS on an external file. But this is a good place to test it. So make sure that it looks the same. Yeah, for some reason in the Mac I can't run it, so I'll just do it manually. So here is the exam. Oops. Okay, I made a mistake. Let's see what the error is. Maybe I forgot the style element. No, I didn't. Let's see. Okay, let's see what the issue is. No, I'm making it bigger because I don't. Oh, the comma. Okay, so this is causing the error. Okay, so yeah, there is an extra comma. So yeah, if you make a mistake, so this comma here is probably the problem. Okay, so I found the error. It seems. So this there's a comma. Actually, I don't see the comma. This is not the comma. If anybody sees the error, let me know. I'm trying to see what the error is. Okay, let me look at the form and see what the issue is. Okay, the font color is one problem. The background is another problem. It's not blue. Okay, let me regress with the ID and see if the CSS works without the adding of the ID. Okay, let's see. Save. Yeah, no, yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, once again, that should not be the issue. What am I? Okay, I'll do it again. I cannot see the error. Okay, so I'll undo it. I'll try to debug it later. So let me undo it. Okay, so I'll save it. Let's save it for later. So let me do it again. But I'll do it a little bit. I'll do it a little bit faster because we need to make sure I finish this practice exam today. So the exam 2. Let me go to downloads. Copy these forms. I'm doing the rectangle right now. So let me get to the answer. Put the rectangle problem. I'm gonna put this one as the old one. Okay, and I'm gonna make this one the new. Okay, so once again, okay, so here it is again. So let me now test it before I test the whole thing. Let me just do it one by one. Okay, so let me do the first one. So this is gonna become div number 1. So div 1, you put the CSS, and then just use it by saying a class equals to div number 1. And since I'm going to test it before moving to the next ones, let me save it, and then let me go here and run it. Okay, so far so good. The first one did not interfere. Once again, I'm not sure why the.
I think you didn't put the div 1, the previous one.
Let's see. This is the old one. Oh, you're right. The number 1. You're right. You're right. Actually, you're right. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you're right. This div was missing. Was that causing the entire problem? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. That single error was causing all of it. Wow, that's okay. So thank you. But I'll do it again for those of you, because a lot of you, or most of you, came in late. So I'll do it again anyway. So I'm doing this again. So the next one is div number 2. So I'm doing it again. Okay, so this is gonna become div number 2. Okay, so div number 2. And once again, you have to use that class. Class equals to div number 2. Okay, now this one here is gonna become div number 3. Make sure you add the class, div number 3. The next one, which repeats 4 times, this one's going to become div number 4. Repeats 4 times. So that class repeats 4 times, class number 4. So it repeats here. It repeats here. So you can reuse the same class basically if the CSS repeats. You cannot do that with IDs. IDs can only be used once. The class can be used multiple times. The same class, I should say, can be used multiple times. Okay, now div number 5. I'm sure it doesn't repeat. The div number 5 that I'm talking about is this one here. It doesn't repeat, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this one does not repeat. Yeah, it doesn't repeat. So that's gonna become div number 5. Okay, so here, of course, make sure you use that class. Okay, now we have the text boxes. So all the text boxes use the same CSS. What that means is that you don't even need a class. You can just use the element. So we're saying basically all the text boxes are going to have the following CSS. So this is not a class. This is an element selector. And that applies to these two text boxes below. So basically all the text boxes have the same CSS. So all the text boxes have the same CSS. Now we have the buttons. The buttons. So input type equals to button. And you can say once again that all the buttons have the same CSS, even though the first one has a margin, because they're in the same horizontal. Horizontal line. You can actually assume this is the same CSS for the other two. And the last one here also will be removed. Okay, so, and I almost forgot the same one, the center one. That we do have one more CSS line. We're gonna call that div number 6. And that's going to be the center class div number 6. So this is the second time I do the same problem today. Okay, so we've done with the conversion process from inline to, once again, I'll tell you here, this is embedded CSS. This is embedded CSS. So let me test it, make sure that it looks the same. So let's see. Actually, there is a problem again. I keep making mistakes. Let's see. Div 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see the divs. So once again, if you make one single mistake, all the CSS will not work. So I must have one single mistake. Let's see where it is. Well, let me make sure I save it. Okay, it looks like the problem is the yeah, div number 5 and div number 4. Okay, let me test it. You can redo, so you can test it without having to replicate it. So I'm testing to see if these two were done. So, well, let me redo. Redo is Shift Control Z. Okay. Oh yes, Shift Control Z. Okay, so let's see. Hmm?
Are you done with the exercises?
No, we're doing the practice exam. That's what we're gonna do today.
Okay. Only the practice, right? Okay, good.
Okay, so let's see if these four. Let's see if it still works at this point. Let's see. Okay, so it didn't work at this point. Okay. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, so I only have div 1 and div 2. Let's see. Okay, so at that point was fine. Okay, so let me do the div 3 and then test it. Okay, so let's see. This is gonna become div number 3. So this is div number 3. Okay, so let me. So what I'm gonna do is test it after every conversion. So let's see. Okay, that works. Let me do now div number 4, which is this one. So div number 4. So that's going to be
So exam 2 is just about converting CSS? That's it?
that's it. Okay, so let me test it at this point again. So it's probably a good idea if you test it once in a while. Okay, so it's still the same CSS. Okay, so now the div number 5 is going to be this one. And let me save it. Okay, so well, make sure I look at the source. Yeah, it's using the same divs. Okay, so far so good. Now the text boxes. Once again, I don't know what the problem was with the other one, the second one I did. But no, but sometimes it's debugging takes longer than redoing it sometimes. So I'm just, but now I'm checking after every single one. I'm not doing the whole thing and checking. No, I'm doing it after every single line. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Okay, so this applies to all the text boxes. Text box number 1, text box number 2. Text box number 3. And text box number 4. This is text box number 4. Okay, so now once again, what I'm doing now is checking after every single conversion. I'm not waiting till the end. That has been my undoing from the other two. Okay, so let's see. Refresh. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so far so good. So now the buttons are there. Okay, so the buttons now. Okay, so the buttons here are input type equals to button. And that applies to all the buttons. Button 1, or rather button 2 and button 3. Okay, so all the buttons, now that I did the buttons, I'll check it. Okay, so far so good. Let me make sure that I am using the updated one. Yes, I am using the updated. Okay, so, and the last one is the text align center. That would be the last div. So that would be div number 6. And that would be here. Okay, so this is the third time I do it. Third time is the charm. You know what they say. So let's see if it works finally. Let's see. Refresh. Okay, so still looks the same. Remember, if it doesn't look the same, you made a mistake. So that's the whole issue. Okay, so all the CSS has been converted. So now we're going to add the ID. And then test it. So we're going to call the form with the ID equals to problem 1. And then put the ID on, precede every single CSS line with the problem 1. This, the reason why we're doing this, this is to make sure that we can mix the two separate forms having separate CSS. We don't want the CSS of form number 1 to interfere with the CSS of form number 2. Okay, so the last test. Let's see, refresh, and once again, make sure you look at the source. Okay, I'm using the one with the ID. Okay, so now we are going to put it into an external file and do our last test. So you're gonna create an external file, exam2 sample1 number1.css. You're going to move that CSS from the page. You do not port that style element. You only port the contents of the style element and put it into the CSS file. Save it, and then create a link to reference that external file. So the link is going to be link rel, or the relationship is style sheet. That is required or it won't work. href, the hypertext reference, is going to be example, and actually it's right here, CSS. Okay, so now you completely finish number 1. And the final test. Okay, so, and make sure that it is using the external file. Yeah, it is using the external file. Okay, so I'm gonna do the second one. I'm gonna move to the second one. So going back to the PDF, now we're going to do the circle one. So I'm gonna do the circle one. So this one is referring to this circle here. So let me rename it to the exam2 sample 1 number 2. Okay, so now let me start the conversion process, but this time, once again, it's probably a good idea to check after every single line, because if you make one single mistake, it's usually hard to, sometimes so hard to detect it that it's easier just to redo it. So check it after every single line. So the form has a CSS. So this is the form CSS. So this is an element. By the way, this is not a class. And once again, I am going to test it now. I won't do the same thing I did before of not testing it. So I'm testing number 2. Okay, so it looks the same. So this time I'm testing after every single conversion. Okay, so here we have labels. Okay, so we have label number 1. So this is going to become label number 1. This is pretty long. Okay. Okay, so there it is. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, I ate this tile, the beginning of this tile for some reason. Oh, I put it in the wrong one. This label actually belongs here. Sorry about that. Inside this tile, label 1. So this is the CSS. Label 1. So this is going to be a class. So the dot. So class label 1. And let me test it this time. So I'm testing it after every single conversion. No, I'm not testing this one. Okay, so I'm gonna be testing with Firefox. Okay, so it still looks the same. Okay, so the next one is, this one is gonna become label number 2. So okay, if you want to know if you can reuse this class, select it and see if it repeats any place else. No, it doesn't repeat. So so the next one is this one here. So this doesn't even repeat. So this is gonna become class number, label number 3 class. So label 3. So this class is label number 3. And once again, test it right away. So these are my tests. Refresh. Still looks the same. Look at the source. Okay, I've done these 3. Okay, so the next one here, this is gonna become label number 4. Yeah. So class label number 4. Okay. So once again, because of the mistakes I made earlier, I'm actually checking it after every single conversion. Okay. We have a div. This is the only div, so we can use an element selector. So we don't need a class, we don't need an ID. And once again, let me test it right away. Okay, so it looks the same. Once again, if it doesn't look the same, you made a mistake. So the whole idea is that it has to look the same. Okay, so if you forward this to the right, you'll notice that you have text boxes. So let's see. Let's see if the text box number 1 is the same as the other ones. Okay, so this is text box number 1, and the CSS doesn't repeat. So I'm gonna put a class, text box number 1. So this one is gonna be class text box number 1. rather number 1. And once again, this time I'm testing it after every single conversion. Okay, good. Yeah, the first text box is separate from, so the next 2 text boxes have the same CSS. They share the same CSS. Okay, so that's good news. So then this one is going to be used in the 2 text boxes that follow. Okay, so this is going to become text box number 2. Once again, we did this a few weeks ago, but we never finished number 3. So today I'm going to make sure I finish number 3. So this is going to become class text box number 2, which is also shared with the next one. So this is also going to become text box number 2. Because it shares the same CSS. Okay, so once again, test it. So I'm testing right now after everything. Okay, so great. So far, so good. Okay, so now the buttons, I guess. Let me see if the buttons have the same. You can actually look at the form. Notice that this CSS, the first and the third button, have the same CSS, but the middle one is different. So the first CSS repeats for the third button. So I'm going to use a class for the buttons. So this is going to become, I guess, button number 1, class button number 1. And that one is used here, class button 1. And this class is going to be used also for the third button because it shares the same CSS. So there is the CSS. So let me, once again, I'm now checking after every single conversion. Good, okay, good. So it still looks the same. And the middle one is, I call it button number 2, class. It's gonna be this one. Okay, so let me put it here. Okay, that's button number 2. Now let me use the class button 2. Okay, so once again, let me check it. Okay, let me reload. Okay, so it looks the same. Well, you should also look at sometimes. Oh no, this is not. I want to use. No, this is Safari. No. I want to use not Safari. I want to use Firefox because it allows me to look at the source. So if I look at the source, I notice that yeah, I am using the last one. So I actually have one more. I have the clear both. Okay, so I have the P element. All the P elements have the clear both. Okay, so I have one more element to go. So the P element, and that would be clear both. So This is, so you now you can delete all the CSS from all the P elements. All the P elements have the same CSS. And now we finish completely. So let's see if it still looks the same. Refresh. Let me make sure that I am using the latest one. Yeah, there's no CSS here anymore. There's no inline CSS. Okay, so now we're gonna introduce the trick which will prevent one CSS from mixing with the other one. And what you're going to do is we're gonna call this ID equals to problem 2. So that the trick is that instead of the form, I'm gonna use the ID. So instead of the form, I'm gonna put ID. ID problem number 2. So that's kind of the trick there. That used to be the form, but now instead of using the form element, I'm using the ID problem 2 because this is going to be used now on all the other CSS lines. So this line is going to be problem 2. And the only reason why you're doing this is to, when you mix this CSS with the other ones, you don't want one CSS from one form to interfere with the CSS of another. So that's the reason why we're doing this. If you were not going to mix it, then you don't have to do this. But we are going to mix it in number 3. Okay, so, and of course test it. So I created this ID and I'm using them here. This used, by the way, this used to be form and I put on the ID now. So let me test it. Okay, still looks the same, great. So now let me create the external file. So exam2 sample 1 number 2.css. Okay, so now let me grab that CSS and put it in the external file of number 2. So number 2 has that CSS. And then add the link to reference that external file. Okay, so this is example 2, that's gonna be this one. And now the last test, let's see. Save, you still have to test it one last time. Refresh, look at the source to make sure you're using the last one. Yeah, this is the one we're using. It has that external CSS. Okay, so it looks, reload just to make sure. Yeah, it looks the same. Okay, so we done number 1 and 2. So now we're going to do number 3. So let me open the PDF.
Can you show the CSS of this one?
Sure. Let me, this is the CSS of number 2. Let me see if I can, okay. Okay, so let me look at the PDF. So now we're gonna do number 3. Now the issue is number 3 also has inline CSS. So we have to convert that inline CSS to external. So number 2 here it's going to become exam2 sample number 1, problem number 3. Okay, so now let's convert the CSS. Okay, so we have the table. Okay, this is an element CSS. We have a TD. And it repeats actually. So this one repeats 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So that's gonna be a TD number 1. Oops, I forgot to copy it. So this is the CSS that repeats 3 times. So once again, how do you know it's repeating? Notice that the other 2 are selected, this one and that one. So it repeats 3 times. So let me capture that CSS, put it in this class. By the way, this is a mistake here. Sorry about that. This is aligned with an N. Okay. Okay, so that one becomes class number. Class value it's TD1, and this class is used here as well.
Professor,
Mm-hmm.
I have the sample one that you already added in the question, and actually in the HTML file, do I have to create a CSS for it and upload it? CSS file?
You're talking about number 2?
Yes, this one.
Let's see. Yeah, you have to make sure you have to externalize the CSS of the 3rd one as well.
Got it.
Yeah, that's what it says over here. Yeah. Or make sure you to also externalize the CSS of the 3rd one. So. And this one here also has the same CSS. So that TD1 is used 3 times. So class TD1. And once again, this time I am checking after every single conversion. So let me go to the, this is number 3. Okay, so it looks the same, great. So let's see what else. Oh, we have one more, this one. So this is gonna become TD number 2. It only repeats twice. Class TD2, and this class is also used here. And that's it. So let me test it. Actually, let me test it with Firefox number 3. Open with Firefox. And the only reason why I'm testing with Firefox, because I'm doing using the Mac, is because Safari doesn't allow you to look at the source, but the Safari does. I like to check with the source. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now we put it in an external file. So So new file. So now we're gonna move the CSS to an external file. So grab that CSS, put it in that external file, and then add the external reference link in the original HTML file. By the way, I am recording today's class, so that's why I want to make sure I finish. That's why I'm going a little bit fast. I want to make sure I finish today. Okay, so by the way, last time we did 1 and 2. We didn't do number 3. So let me test. Since I externalize it, you should check it one last time. Refresh. Oops, you see? It's a good thing and I'm pretty sure my mistake was I didn't save the file. I'm pretty sure that is the problem. So make sure you so go back to the external and okay, this one here. Make sure you save it, and make sure you save number 3. And now go back to that test. Refresh. Okay, yeah, that was it. I forgot to save it. Look at the source. Make sure the external file is correct. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do the mixing of the forms. So this is so this form is going to go into problem 1 here. So problem 1 here is going to have the first form. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna grab the CSS of number 1. First thing, make sure you reuse. You have to use that external file. That has the CSS of form number 1. Put it into put it there, and then copy the form. Only the form. So the form begins, in my case, in line 9, and it ends in line 26. So I'm copying the form and putting it in number 3. I like to, before putting it in problem 1 here, I like to put a comment to make sure I know where it begins and ends in case I have to debug it. So this is problem 1, and I'm gonna put it here as well. And then just paste the form. So the form is gonna replace the text, problem 1 here. So the form, so this is the form I just pasted. So I'm kind of indenting it. So so let's see how it looks. Let's see this one here. So refresh. Okay, so looks good. So now let's do the second form, and we're done. So let me do now the second form. So now for the second form, grab that external CSS, put it in number 3, but I'll put it right after number 1. So that's number 2. And now I'm going to go to the HTML, only grab the form. So the form is from line 10 to line 20. So it's a kind of a short form. So remember, you're not cutting it, copy it. And then put it into where the second form is supposed to go, which is here. It's supposed to go in problem 2 here. And once again, I'm gonna be adding the comments. Problem 2. Problem 2. Okay, so now let me paste the form. Let me indent it a bit. Okay, so there's problem 2. And let me test it. Great, looks perfect. Notice that we didn't have to fix the width because the last one is a table. And on the test, the last one is still going to be a table. That makes it a lot easier to mix it. Otherwise, you would have to work on the width and so on. So we're done. So this is, so I finally finished it, the practice. So we did this a few weeks ago, but we didn't get to complete number 3. So now I just completed number 3. So this is basically number 3. It has the 3 CSS files and the forms. This is form number 1, and this is form number 2. So if you make it small, you'll see that it has both forms. Both forms.
Can you show the CSS on
Number 3 CSS. Okay, so once again, I will post the video tonight. I am recording because then you have no excuse as to if you do bad on the exam because you have a reference here. So I'm going to now stop recording.